There is a certain time in a person's life when they finally see that something they once held on to tightly is no longer theirs. This feeling does not usually happen because everything vanished in one night. It does not happen because a sudden twist of fate took it away in a heartbeat. Instead, it happens because they slowly let it slip through their fingers. They did this while thinking in the back of their mind that it would always be sitting there waiting for them. And when a woman finally knows deep down that she has lost you, something begins to shift inside her being in places that nobody can see from the outside. It might not show on the outside right away. You might not see it in her face the very next morning, but deep inside, in that quiet place where her pride can no longer hide the truth from her, things are different. At the very start, she might try to act like she's not bothered at all. She might put on a brave face and tell herself that your absence does not really change anything. She might try to convince her own heart that moving on is going to be a simple walk in the park. She might even make it look like she is happier than she has ever been before. But we have to remember that what we see on the outside can be very tricky. Sometimes the biggest and brightest smiles are just there to cover up a very sad realization. This happens when someone truly loses a person who really cared, a person who showed them respect, and a person who saw their true worth. The silence that follows becomes a sound that is impossible to ignore. The little pings on the phone stop coming in. The sweet messages in the morning are gone. The attention that used to be there every day just disappears like smoke in the wind. All that warm energy that was once given so freely is simply not there anymore. And all at once, the things that used to seem like regular everyday habits start to feel like rare treasures that she took for granted. She starts to think back on the little things she used to look right past without even noticing. She remembers the way you would check in just to see how her day was going. She thinks about the way you really listened when she talked, not just hearing the words, but understanding the feelings behind them. She remembers how you noticed the tiny details that nobody else ever seemed to pay attention to. She thinks about the way you always showed up when things got hard and it really mattered. Those actions did not seem like a big deal when they were happening every single day. They felt normal and expected. But now that they're gone, they feel very special and irreplaceable. It is a strange thing about life that we often do not see how much something is worth until it is gone. People often do not understand the value of what they have until they can no longer reach out and touch it. When she knows she has lost you, her mind starts to compare everything around her to what used to exist between the two of you. She does not do this because she wants to feel bad about herself. She does it because that is just how the human brain works. It compares what is happening right now to what used to happen in the past. She meets new people in her daily life. She talks to others at work or out with friends on the weekends. But every time something feels a little bit off, in a way she cannot quite explain. Something feels like it is missing from these interactions. The way other people try just isn't the same as how you tried. The honesty isn't the same level. The bond she feels with them just doesn't go as deep as what you two shared. And that is exactly when the truth starts to speak much louder than her pride ever could. She starts to see that what she thought was just a normal thing was actually very hard to find in this world. A man who truly and deeply cares. A man who is the same kind person every single day without fail. A man who gives his time and his heart without holding back or keeping score. These are things that are very easy to take for granted until the day they vanish from your life. And once they are gone, trying to find someone else to fill that space is much harder than she ever thought it would be. The competition is not other people. The competition is the memory of what you gave her and how you made her feel. When she knows she has lost you, your quietness starts to hurt her more than your words ever did in the past. This is because people get very used to having someone around in their daily lives. They count on it like a heartbeat. They lean on it like a sturdy wall that will never crumble. They just assume that wall will always be there to hold them up no matter what happens. But when that person is gone, they're forced to look at what life really feels like without that support system. The phone stays quiet in her pocket all day long. The days start to feel a little bit more empty and hollow. The feeling of being safe and cared for, which she used to think would never end, is suddenly not there anymore. And that is when the big questions start to grow in her mind like weeds in an untended garden. She wonders what happened to him. She asks herself why he stopped trying to reach out to her. She wonders why he doesn't react to her life anymore the way he used to. She asks why he seems to be doing just fine without her by his side. Those questions get louder and louder every single day because the thing that hurts people the most isn't just losing someone they care about. It is the realization that the person they lost has finally found a sense of peace and happiness without them. There is something very strong and powerful about a person who simply stops chasing what they cannot have. They don't do it because they're mad or bitter inside. They don't do it because they want to get back at anyone for their actions. They do it because they finally understand how much they are truly worth as a human being. The very second you stop asking and begging for someone to notice you is the second your true value starts to show itself to the world. The moment you stop trying to force a conversation that isn't working is the moment people start to really notice that you aren't there anymore, taking up all the space. The moment you stop trying to prove that you are good enough is the moment other people start to wonder if they didn't appreciate you enough when they had the chance to do so. And when she knows she has lost you, she sees all these changes in you very clearly. She sees that you aren't waiting by the phone anymore like you used to. She sees that you aren't trying to explain yourself or convince her of anything. You aren't working hard to earn a little spot in her life anymore. You are simply walking forward into your own future with purpose and direction. And that can be a very hard thing for her to watch unfold before her eyes. This is because people usually expect you to stay the same person you always were with them. They expect a version of you that always stays no matter what happens between you. They expect the you that forgives them over and over again, no matter how many times. They expect the you that always comes back home like a lost puppy. But growing up and learning lessons changes a person from the inside out in ways they never expected. Growth teaches you that love should not mean you have to give up your own self-respect and dignity. Growth teaches you that both people have to put in the same amount of work and effort. Growth teaches you that you are still a wonderful and valuable person even if someone else didn't see it or recognize it. And when she sees you growing like that, she starts to understand what she really let go of in the process. It wasn't just your attention or your kindness on a surface level. It was your heart and your willingness to build a life with her step by step. That thought can feel very heavy and overwhelming to carry around. A person can find attention from lots of people if they look hard enough. They can find someone to tell them they look nice or someone to distract them for a little while. But real, deep, honest care is very rare in this world. It is like finding a diamond in a pile of rocks. And once that kind of care is gone, it is almost impossible to find another one just like it, no matter how hard you search. She might start looking at your photos or your updates online more than she used to do. She isn't doing it because she is a bad person with bad intentions. She is doing it because she is curious about where you are going and what you're doing. When she isn't sure about things anymore, she wants to see what is happening in your life. She wants to know if you're doing okay without her by your side. She wants to see if you have moved on to a new chapter of your life completely. She wants to know if someone else is now getting all that wonderful energy that she used to take for granted every single day. And every time she sees a sign that you are getting stronger and happier without her, it creates a very messy mix of feelings inside her chest. She feels a little bit of respect for you and your strength, a little bit of sadness that things ended the way they did, and a little bit of shock that you are actually okay and doing well. She expected you to stay right where she left you, waiting in the dark like a forgotten memory. Many people think that way because they're used to being the center of someone's world. They think you will always be there, always hoping they will come back someday. But that isn't how life goes for people who truly respect themselves. People change over time and experience. People heal their hearts when they finally decide to do the work. People grow into better versions of themselves when they commit to their own journey. And sometimes the person who once thought they could never live without someone else becomes the person who finally finds true peace all by themselves in the quiet moments. That is when the loss feels real and heavy in a way she never anticipated. Losing someone isn't always about how many miles are between you physically. Sometimes it is about realizing that they aren't tied to the old story of the two of you anymore and never will be again. When she knows she has lost you, memories start to pop up when she least expects them to appear. It might be a song on the radio while she's driving to work or to see friends. It might be a place you used to go to for coffee on Saturday mornings together. It might be an old talk you had that she replays in her mind, or a photo at the bottom of a drawer that brings back everything. Suddenly, she's reminded of everything she thought she had more time to be thankful for. That is the thing about the good things in life. They look like they will stay forever until the very moment they're gone. Then all of a sudden, they become the most important things in the world, and she would do anything to get them back. And even if she never tells anyone out loud about her feelings, there are times when she sits alone and wonders what would have happened if she had just treated you differently. She wonders, what if she had listened just a little bit more when you were trying to tell her something important? What if she had shown you more love and appreciation? What if she had seen how much you were worth before you left and moved on with your life? Looking back on the past is a very powerful thing because it gives you a clear view that you didn't have when you were in the middle of it all. It shows you the small mistakes that didn't seem to matter back then. It shows you the moments that could have changed the whole story if you had only made a different choice. But time is like a river that flows only one way forward. It never goes back, no matter how much we wish it would. And one of the hardest things for anyone to learn is that some chances only come around once in a lifetime. This isn't because people are mean or can't forgive when they want to. It is because when you grow, you walk down new paths that you never considered before. The person you become after you learn how much you are worth is not the same person who used to settle for less than they deserve. A person who has healed their heart is a different person than the one who was hurting every single day. A person who has found peace is not the same as the person who was always chasing after someone for validation. And when she knows she has lost you, she starts to see that the biggest loss wasn't just your time and attention. It was losing someone who really truly wanted to give her their best self. Someone who knew she wasn't perfect, but chose her anyway despite her flaws. Someone who cared about her even when it was hard to do and required real effort. Someone who stayed when it would have been so much easier to just walk away and start fresh. That realization doesn't always hit a person right away in the immediate aftermath. Sometimes it takes a few weeks to sink in. Sometimes it takes a few months or even many years before the full weight hits her. But in the end, the truth catches up to everyone eventually, no matter how long you run from it. Eventually, people start to understand the value of what they once held in their hands. They see how rare it is to find someone who really tries hard in a relationship. They understand that things like loyalty and always being there are not things that are guaranteed to stay forever. They're gifts that we are blessed to receive. And when those gifts are taken away, the emptiness is very hard to live with every single day. Before we continue deeper into this story, I want to take a moment to ask you something important. If you have found value in these words and this message resonates with your soul, I would be incredibly grateful if you could help me reach a milestone that means the world to me. We are working hard to hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel, and every single person who joins our community helps us grow and create more content like this that touches hearts and changes lives. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider clicking that subscribe button right now. Your support would mean everything to me and to everyone who benefits from these stories and lessons. Because the truth is very simple and straightforward. When she knows she has lost you, she doesn't just miss seeing your face in the morning. She misses the way you made her feel deep down in her soul. She misses knowing that you would always be there no matter what challenges came up. She misses the comfort of your voice when everything felt chaotic. She misses your energy and the peace you brought into her life. She misses the way life felt when someone cared enough to stay, enough to keep trying, and enough to believe in her, even when they didn't have to do so. The hard part is that by the time she finally understands all of this truth, you might be a long way down your own new road, building a completely different life. It isn't because you stopped caring in a single night. It isn't because you forgot all the memories you shared together. It is because healing slowly teaches us how to carry our past behind us without having to live inside of it every single day. Every day you spend working on yourself changes something small inside you that compounds over time. Every lesson you learn makes you a little bit stronger and wiser. Every time you feel disappointed, you learn a little bit more about what you truly deserve in this life. Every moment you spend alone shows you parts of yourself that were hidden when you were too busy trying to get someone else to like you and validate your existence. And while she's just beginning to see what she lost, you are just beginning to see all the wonderful things you have gained through this experience. You gain a clear mind that isn't clouded by confusion and mixed signals. You gain a feeling of respect for yourself that was missing before. You gain a sense of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else's actions. You gain the knowledge that your worth was never based on whether someone else could see it or not. That is a very powerful thing to know and carry with you forever. Once a person truly understands their own value deep in their bones, they stop trying to bargain for it with other people. They stop asking for things that should be given for free by someone who loves them unconditionally. They stop running after people who who are running away. They stop hurting themselves just to keep a connection alive that only one person is working on. And when she sees this new version of you, it hits her in a different way that shakes her to her core. She notices how confident you are now in ways you never were before. She notices how calm you seem about life in general. She notices that you don't react to things the way you used to react. The things that used to make you upset or sad don't have that power over you anymore. The things that broke your heart are no longer the things that define your whole life. You are standing taller than before. You are speaking with more strength and conviction. And you are living in a brand new way that feels authentic and true. This change forces her to face something that is very uncomfortable to acknowledge. The version of you that she used to know is gone completely. Not just your body and physical presence, but your heart, your mind, and your spirit have transformed. The person who used to wait for her for hours has changed fundamentally. The person who used to accept not knowing where they stood has learned to value knowing the truth. The person who used to be okay with feeling confused has learned to look for things that are clear and honest. And once you grow like that and become who you are meant to be, you can't just go back to how you were before. Sometimes she might try to reach out to you again in small ways. It might not be a big dramatic gesture. Maybe she sends a small message that could mean something or nothing. Maybe she likes a photo you posted online. Maybe she starts a little chat that seems like it doesn't mean much on the surface. But underneath those small things, there's often a question she's too afraid to ask out loud to you. She wants to know if she still matters to you and holds a special place. She wants to know if there is still a little spot for her in your life and your heart. She wants to know if you have really, truly moved on completely. This is because we all get curious about stories that didn't really have an ending, especially when we realize we were the one who caused the ending to happen. She might play back all those old talks in her head over and over. She might remember the times you asked her to just try to understand you better. She remembers the moments you tried to talk things through. She remembers how hard you fought to keep the relationship going while she wasn't sure what she wanted. And now, when she looks back at those memories with fresh eyes, those moments look very different than they did before. Looking at things from a distance changes how you see them in profound ways. What used to seem like you were doing too much now looks like you were just being honest and sincere. What used to seem like just a normal day now looks like a very special memory she would treasure. What used to seem like it would be there forever now looks like something that can never be replaced or recreated. That is the strange thing about losing something precious. It is like looking through a magnifying glass at your past. All of a sudden, every good thing you did becomes very clear and visible. Every bit of work you put in is easy to see and understand. Every sacrifice you made is easy to be thankful for. The things that were ignored are now the things she can't stop thinking about all day. And while she's looking back at the past and what could have been, you are busy building a future that doesn't include her. You keep building your life brick by brick. You keep growing every single day in ways big and small. You keep learning new things about yourself and the world. You keep getting stronger than you were the day before. And with every single step you take forward, the space between who you were and who you are now gets bigger and bigger. The pain that used to take up all your thoughts has become a lesson you learn and integrated. The heartbreak that used to use up all your energy has turned into wisdom. The disappointment that used to make you feel weak has turned into the fuel that keeps you going and pushing forward. And before long, you see that losing her wasn't the end of your story. It was actually the start of a whole new you that you never imagined. It was a change you never would have had if things stayed the same. It was a change that taught you how to be tough. It taught you how to be patient. It taught you how to respect yourself. It showed you the amazing strength that was always hiding inside you, waiting to be discovered. And while she might still be thinking about what she lost, you are busy finding out all the things you have gained. You have a stronger way of thinking about life. You have a clearer path ahead of you. You have a better understanding of who you are and what you want. You have a bigger love for your own self. And maybe the most important lesson of all is seeing that the right people will never ask you to give up on yourself just to keep them around. They will never make you feel like you have to keep proving your love over and over again. They will never leave you wondering if you are worth it. They will see how hard you try. They will be glad you are there. They will give you back the same energy you give to them. This is because healthy relationships are built on respect for each other. They are built on both people trying hard and both people being thankful. They aren't built on one person doing everything while the other person just sits and watches. And once you see that truth clearly, you can never go back to being the person who accepted less than what your heart deserved. Your standards have changed. Your rules for how you want to be treated have evolved. You know more now than you did before.
Your understanding of real love has become much too deep to ever forget. And that is why the whole story changes for you from that moment on. There was a time when your happiness was based on what she did. There was a time when one little text could make your whole day happy. There was a time when a cold answer could ruin your whole afternoon. But then something shifted inside you. You got tired of giving all your power to someone else. You got tired of letting someone else's choices decide if you were at peace. And bit by bit, you started taking your power back where it belongs. Your future is now yours alone to create. And that is the most beautiful freedom of all.